If you're here for the first time, we are happy that you've joined us, and we applaud you for taking time out of your busy schedule, knowing that there's so many other things that you could be doing at this time of the day. This is often family time for a lot of folks. And it could be, and I strongly believe that those who choose to come to product presentations like this, that you are in fact doing your family a service. And I can say that because I was talking with one affiliate just yesterday, I think it was. And the one thing that she could say, which many affiliates are able to say that, in fact, just today, an affiliate said this, my family is all taking the product. So if we accomplish nothing else, we actually open the door and open the possibility for our family having a better quality of life, because you've given them the opportunity, you've given them access to the food that is missing from our food. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So for the record, today is August the 23rd, 2022. My name is Jonathan Jones. My pleasure and privilege to be your host and moderator for the evening. Jeff Ashby is my co-host. Jeff Ashby is also the only ambassador level affiliate in the entire company of Engage Global. So we're privileged to have Jeff.
Just the first, Jonathan, just the first, not the only. It's
yeah,
you're right there on my heels.
It's all right. We're just calling it like it is. And today you are what you are. You know, so no promises about tomorrow, but today that's what you are. And I also know that Rob is doubled over because he says, we gonna change that in a hot minute. So we know what Rob is doing, and a few others have some plans to alter those status reports. So very good. Happy to see that.
You guys got the secret out to us.
There we did. Yep.
Now we know.
And we're paving that road.
Yes, indeed.
That's right.
My hat's off to you guys, period.
I hope you all know what a 426 Hemi's dust looks like.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I got another Mopar man on here.
We put one in a Packard with a Lemco transmission, and that was the ugliest, fastest beast in town.
Oh. We'll have to see pictures.
Yeah. Well, it's about to happen. So this is it's a wonderful thing to hear it and to see it, because it means people's lives are changing. People's lives are changing. And we want to show you guys a video, but before we do, I happen to know that Rob has told his story here before, but Dan, could you give us the condensed version of why you have aligned yourself with Engage Global and what your opinion is about Micro Daily? And I say the condensed version because, believe me, Dan can tell us the story, and we would enjoy it. We would appreciate every second of it.
Mm-hmm.
But tell us, Dan. Tell us why.
About a year ago, I ended up with some botulism, and it shut my whole body down.
Screen, please, Jeff? Oh, there he is on. Okay, I'm sorry.
About a year ago, I got a hold of some botulism from a fast food restaurant. Almost killed me. I went from 290 pounds down to 190 in 7 weeks. And for the next several months, I was on death's door, barely hanging on. Another doctor up north that was doing homeopathic medicine stabilized me. And when Jonathan got me the collagen and the original Micro Daily, I noticed a marked improvement just in 48 hours. Now, I was doubling up on them, so I was taking 3, 3, and 3 the first week, and then dropped it back to 2, 2, and 2, and I'm down to 2 twice a day. And my energy level has come up greatly. It literally allowed my organs to have something to rebuild with. But the doctor up north told me He'd been around this kind of thing for 30 years, and I'm the first survivor he's ever seen. So I'm grateful that I'm even alive. But having said that, the point is I've noticed a marked improvement, and planning on we brought about half dozen people online, and no one has said that they don't want to improve their health, because it's a biological weapon that's been introduced to us starting over 40 years ago, gradually. And now it's, we're paying the price of it because our body's got nothing to build with. So anyway, short lesson. I'm glad to be alive. Thank you.
So how long did it take for you to start noticing a difference in how you felt, Dan?
I had been on a 16 to 18 hour sleep period. And the second day, within 48 hours, it dropped to 12 hours. So my body was starting to take a hold of the nutrients and really start kicking in. The brain is one of the last things to really kick in, and I haven't got all that back yet, but we're working on that. So,
oh, it's coming. You were sleeping 16 to 18 hours. So in 48 hours, you went down to sleeping 12 hours. And I heard your wife say that in 2 weeks, she's seen a remarkable difference in you. So in just 2 weeks' time, you feel you went from what you call death's door to where you are today.
I literally a month ago didn't know how I was going to survive the next 3 to 5 years. It was, and I just buried my brother a year ago. He's 3 years my junior. My dad just went into assisted living. He's 92. All that hit us all about the same time. And it's like, holy smokes, where'd the bomb go off at?
Mm-hmm.
But it's been a steady bomb all along. And this is a biological weapon. If you actually put the bottom line on it, that none of the food you have is just exonerated cardboard.
That's so sad to hear.
Sorry to say.
That is so sad to hear. We're going to talk a little bit more in detail about what Dan said here in a few minutes. Thank you very much, Dan, for being willing to share your story. But Jeff's got another interesting story that we want to share as we begin this discussion. So, Jeff, go ahead. Let's cue the tape here and hear what's going on.
Yeah, so let me just give you a little bit of backstory here. So what Dan was just talking about, upping the dose, going to a more of a therapeutic dose is critical, but also so many of the people that we're coming across have already been on 1 or 2 or 10 different supplements, and their entire medicine cabinet is filled, and the entire top of their dresser, their counter, wherever they're storing them all. And because they've spent money on them, they feel like they need to continue to take them. But what I'm going to share with you next is a story out of the Hawaiian Islands. We've got a healthcare practitioner over there, natural medicine practitioner, and she shares with us her approach to utilizing the microdaily, and it's pretty significant when you look across her shoulder and back of her and see how many other products are on her shelves, what she says about microdaily. So I'm going to share this with you. Let's see where I go. All right.
I'm having great results with people, clients who've had so much pain in between sessions. They do follow my advice of cutting out all their other vitamins, because I think that's really, really important. And just use the microdaily and up the dose. Upping the dose is quite amazing if you really need the help or need extra energy. And then also, I'm finding great results with opening up the capsule and putting it under the tongue, just for emergency reasons. But I also found opening up the capsule and soaking the food for animals in it. Like, for instance, I was working on a cat who a woman was just besides herself. She was very, very upset. She was emotionally distraught, and I had someone connect me with her because he knew that I have pretty good results. And so I was talking with her. The cat was being a feral cat, was ready to be put to sleep by the veterinarian. And I said, no, we don't go there yet. That's not even an option. So I told her about Microdaily, and the cat wasn't eating. She goes, I don't know what I'll do. The cat won't eat. I said, just open up a capsule, put some on your finger, and try to get it in the sides of its mouth. If it won't do that, put it in its water. If it's drinking water, that's a good sign. So actually, she put it in the cat's water, and the cat was drinking her secretly because she was upset, not drinking the water. But then she measured it. She goes, oh, I guess the cat is drinking its water. So overnight, it would get up and drink the water. And each day it got stronger and stronger. She was giving the cat baby food with chicken. And I told her, cut the baby food out. It's filled with heavy metals, most of it. Cut it out. You're probably not doing the cat a service. Just a little bit of chicken is good. Grind it up. And the cat started eating bigger and bigger pieces of chicken, didn't want the small pieces, were taking big pieces, sitting up on its perch and purring and sitting and laying in a very relaxed way. Before it was all like hunched over, and she could tell it was getting better. And now the cat is healthy. It's an older cat, a rescue cat, but I went to visit it. And it's so cute. Yeah, she's really, really happy. She can't be happier, and she is taking it for herself. The cat was poisoned, and that's what was, I knew that this would help the cat. Cat was poisoned by too much veterinarian work, teeth work, x-rays, etc. The cat system couldn't take it. The cat was going to die, and it was having liver failure and etc. And that just pulled the cat out of, cat's real happy, looked at me, smiled. So I had good results with that. And I'm now working with a bigger dog who has had trauma, accidental trauma, power washer, and he got his mouth in the power washer. His lips are all red. So I've putting a solution of Microdaily on his lips with coconut oil, is what I've heard you say, Jeff. Okay, so I'm using that. You can tell that the dog's getting happy. I give it a capsule here and there, maybe 2 or 3 a day, because it's a bigger dog. And the dog, you can tell it's out of its stress now, and it's more relaxed. It's not in sympathetic, it's more parasympathetic. And it's doing a lot better. I think after about 4 more days, it should be pretty good. But I think we should continue the Microdaily for this dog. So I have those kinds of experiences with animals. They're so easy. People, easy too if they listen and cut out their other vitamins and maybe up. I have people that really need to up their dosage, and they just don't believe it. If they would just do it, it would work. At least try it. It's worth it. So that's my experience with what's happening with Microdaily.
Pretty incredible, huh?
That's amazing. And it's interesting that you would say this, because just yesterday someone sent me a message and asked, is it okay to give Microdaily to animals? And I just sent them the picture of the livers of the 2 rabbits that were.
Yeah, the lung tissue.
Yeah.
That looks like a liver.
The lung tissue that looks like a liver. That's right.
So stick around. I've got one a horse experience. If you think a little small kitty and a dog can work, I've got a horse testimonial for the end.
All right, very good. So we'll jump on that horse testimonial in just a couple minutes then. Thank you very much for sharing that story. So here's the question, folks. Why is Dan making a big deal, about a vitamin? And why is he saying that, food has become weaponized? Why is he saying that there's food missing from our food? What's Dan talking about? What's this woman in Hawaii talking about where she's got a cat that she says was over medicated and over treated, by a veterinarian and was going into liver failure and almost dying. And all she did was give the cat a vitamin. What's all this discussion about? Well, it's actually very simple and literally going to take about 11, maybe 12 minutes to just tell you a quick story. But most of the story you can get right from this first picture right here. In fact, if I didn't go any further in this discussion, and you took a snapshot of this right here, you should say to yourself, my whole reason for coming to this discussion is right here. Look at the first two words, daily nutrition. Now, you don't see anything on the picture that tends to indicate that there's daily nutrition involved in that photograph. But I can tell you this, that what's in the contents of this brochure is all about just that. In fact, it's specifically about the food that is missing from food. It's the daily nutrition that we should be getting from our food. And the woman, maybe she's just a model. I don't know if she doesn't even know what microdaily is. I don't know. I don't know who she is. Well, whatever, she feels liberated. And she's given the impression of being very much liberated. A little bit like the tone you heard in Dan Chancellor's voice at the very beginning. Here's a big strapping man. You may not be able to tell how tall and how big he is, but as a big strapping man who said, I didn't know how I was going to make it for the next 4 or 5 years. So I remember my first conversation with him. I said to myself, oh my goodness, he's on a cliff right now. We got to pull him off the precipice right now. This is not, let's see if we can talk him into trying microdaily. This is somebody run over there right now and slap a funnel in his mouth and start shoving it in there, so that we can pull this guy off a cliff right now. What you're about to hear about on the bottom of the image is the world's most scientifically validated micronutrient supplements. That's a mouthful. Just remember, this is the food that's missing from food. That's what we're talking about. That's what this discussion is all about today. So where does it all begin? It all begins, with the United States military, really. That's really kind of the start of the whole process, because the United States government decided that they wanted their soldiers on the battlefield to be able to perform optimally. They spend millions of dollars trying to protect them and spend billions of dollars, giving them equipment, but they really hadn't given a whole lot of attention to how they felt on the inside. So they decided to do something, and that's where this military micronutrient formula came from. That's what the original packaging looked like. The soldiers were the only ones who had this. So the Department of Defense asked and said, we need help. The only scientist man enough to step up to the plate was Dr. Prasad. Every vitamin company in the country could have answered that call. Every one of them could have said, no, we make Flintstone vitamins. You should come to us. No, we make one-a-day vitamins. You should come to us. No, we make. They all said, no, you guys want us to prove too much. I'm just speculating that that's what they said. Whatever the case, they didn't answer the call. But Dr. Prasad said, I got you. Because he could prove. He had been doing the research. He had been making sure that he knew exactly what would be needed if a human needed to sustain life, support life, rejuvenate life. He had that. Dr. Prasad was already in the mix. So there's a timeline from 2001 all the way down to 2006. Now we have access to the most scientifically validated product in the world. The civilians, the average person now has access to it. And this is the man behind it, Dr. Khadar Prasad. Now we could talk all day and half the night about Dr. Prasad, but just know this, This man's the world's first radiation biology PhD. He's the first one to get a PhD. So he's a doctor. He's a PhD in this doctor. That's where he got his master's in that. His formulas have 7 US patents. This is the guy that figured out that there's one particular microbe that is the byproduct of the fermentation of fibers in the gut that has anti-cancer properties. He's also the guy who figured out that this little thing here called vitamin E succinate, that's cytotoxic to cancer. So everything about this man is help the body to deal with radiation and help the body to deal with abnormal cells. Everything about him is geared that way. He's the author of not 29 books, but 31, and he's working on number 32 right now. And he's also been published 250 times in peer-reviewed articles. That means as far as scientists are concerned, he's come up with 250 different things that other scientists as brilliant as him never thought of. And remember, this was one of them, and this was 2 of them. And there's 248 more that we don't have time to talk about. That this is the guy, this is the first one to come up with it. And by the way, if you go to PubMed right now, when it comes to this particular thing here, this butyric acid, go to PubMed and search butyric acid. There's more than 500 papers written on that. This is the guy that wrote the first paper on it. He's the first one that discovered the value of butyric acid and its connection to anti-cancer, right? So he's the first one to make that connection. But now there's more than 500 papers written on the subject. So he's a pioneer. And we're fortunate to have this man here in the picture. He's not just there just to make the picture balance and to make it, look halfway good, and make it more diverse. No, he's not there for that. He's the money. He's the purse string behind this whole thing. And we're very fortunate that he is there, because that also helps you to understand too, if you are thinking about this as an affiliate from a business point of view, there's a significance that is the one and only owner of the company. There's not a board of directors involved here. There's not multiple people making decisions here. It's David Nemelka, who's the primary investor and the sole owner of this company. They partnered together because Dr. Prasad said, and he said this to me directly, he felt that David was a man of integrity, and he believed that David would be the man who would help get his formula out to the world. He just wanted people to benefit from it. The benefits of Microdaily are extensive. There's just not enough time for us to be able to say everything about it, but just understand again, we are simply talking about, and this is not hyperbole, folks. This is the food that's missing from our food. You look at the list of ingredients, and it really doesn't look that impressive until you drill down and look a little bit closer. It's not just vitamin E. There's more than a half a dozen kinds of vitamin E out there, which I didn't know until becoming associated with Dr. Prasad in this company. But he chose to put vitamin E succinate in there. Remember, vitamin E succinate just happens to be cytotoxic to cancer cells, which means it happens to kill cancer cells. And one other little thing, it crosses the blood-brain barrier. And the blood-brain barrier is really pretty persnickety about what it allows to come and go through it. But it allows vitamin E succinate to go through it. And as long as you have some vitamin E going across your blood-brain barrier, you want it to do a little bit more than just handle oxidative stress and free radicals, which is extremely important. But it also has the ability to handle abnormal cells. Remember, it's cytotoxic to cancer cells. Does that mean it's a cure for glioblastoma? I'm not saying that, and I'm not implying that in any way, shape, or form that that's the case. But he also put in here CoQ10, alpha lipoic acid, and N-acetylcysteine. So besides all these exogenous antioxidants, he put antioxidants in there that cause your body to make its own antioxidant, the master antioxidant, which is called glutathione. Dr. Prasad was brilliant in combining all of this together the way that he did. And it's this combination, it's the exact quantities and in the right form, that's what makes it unique. Because seriously, if you went to the health food store with that list of ingredients right there, you could go buy them. You could go buy A, C, a vitamin E, B3, B12, CoQ. You can buy all these things at the health food store. But if you took the entire list of ingredients, we've already done the research, it would cost about $300 to get it. And even then, you still wouldn't know. That's giving you the combination. you wouldn't know the right quantity, would you? And you wouldn't know that it came in the right form and from the right sources. Even if you got 1 out of 3, it would take you 40 years like it did him to figure out the right quantity and the right form to put it in. But all that research has already been done. All of Dr. Prasad's decades of research has already been done, and it won't cost $300. It's actually as low as $53 to get that original green bottle, the original formula that the soldiers got in the battlefield. $53. If that's all you wanted. And by the way, while we're on this screen right here, this is what your cells are supposed to look like. This is what they look like when you consume food that is missing food. It gets bombarded with free radicals and oxidative stress. When you don't have sufficient nutrients in your body, that's what happens to the cell. This is a little thing called aging. That's what that really is. And by the way, this happens not just from aging. This is when the body goes into dis-ease, because Dan's got a couple miles on him. He's got a few more miles than me, but he certainly is not aged to the point of expiring. But his body was not at ease. It was suffering from free radical damage. That's why he felt like he was going into decline. And now, because he's got the food that's missing from food, his body is going, instead of in this direction, his body is now going in this direction. His cells are rejuvenating. That's a nice thing, isn't it? I guarantee you, if you had a conversation with Dan Chancellor about it, like you just heard him at the beginning of this discussion tonight, that he's happy as a pig in slop, to use a Southern term. He's thrilled and elated that something is going in his body that's reversing that process. Instead of his cells being degraded, they're being rejuvenated, all because he found the food that's been missing from our food. Dr. Prasad focused on children and put together the world's most nutritious gummy. There's not a single gummy in the world that has the quality of this supplement in it. That's not hyperbole, that's for real. There's not a single one in the world like this. You can go buy your little $5 or $10 bottle of Flintstone vitamins and many other children vitamins. And to borrow Dan's expression at the very beginning, it's just like cardboard. It's pretty much worthless. But Dr. Prasad put not just the original soldier's formula in the children's gummy, he put his best formula. This is his top shelf, his crowning achievement. He put that one in the children's formula because he knew, remember, the world's first radiation biology PhD, the world's first. He knew that radiation is serious. Did he know that cell phones were going to be invented? Probably not, but he knew Hiroshima and Nagasaki happened. But let's go to what we can relate to. Some of you may not be old enough to remember when the first cell phones were invented, but I do. They were bricks. They were big old things. And those things were like sitting on microwave ovens if you had one in your car. But today's cell phones, you guys think you got such great technology? Oh, yeah, how wonderful you are. Your technology right now is 500 times more powerful than the original cell phone technology. The World Health Organization now refers to cell phones as carcinogenic as cigarettes. The World Health Organization puts them in the same category as cigarettes, cell phones. And that was before 5G came along. 5G is 700 times more powerful than the original. So we're being slammed with radiation right now. Whether you have a 5G phone or not, whether you live near towers or not, we're being slammed with it. What happens to your body when it gets flooded with radiation? Well, Dr. Prasad asked that question. And he went to, in conjunction with NASA, they decided, because he said in his own words, NASA was the only facility that had that was authorized to use radiation powerful enough to experiment with. So they did that. He went to NASA, see it right here? Look at that right there, NASA, okay? And this was a clinical study that they did. So they took two rabbits and decided to zap them. They both were slammed with massive amounts of radiation. The kind of radiation, again, that only NASA was authorized to administer. Both of the rabbits ate food, both of them. Both of them had their last meal. But one rabbit was given food that's missing food. The other rabbit was given the food that's missing from food. Now you look at the two pictures over here. Here's one picture and here's the second picture. Which one do you think? These are the lungs of those two rabbits, by the way. These are the lung tissue. One of them had food. The other one had food along with the food that's missing from food. Which one do you think? They both died because the radiation was lethal. But this one here that looks like it was smoking all of its life, 10 packs a day, yeah, that's the one that didn't get the food that's missing from food. But this one, he died, but look at his lungs. That's what you want your lungs to look like. And remember, we're not being slammed by the radiation that NASA put out, but you are being slammed by the radiation that Sprint, Verizon, and T-Mobile and everybody else is putting out, and it's at 5G level now. It's pretty bad. So the question you need to ask yourself, what do I want my insides to look like? You decide. Either you keep eating the food, or you find a way to find the food that's missing from food and add that to your diet. That's what we get with Dr. Prasad. And these are the list of the patents over here that Dr. Prasad's formulas were awarded. My favorite is still this one here, a patent that includes the words treatment for diabetes. We're not allowed to say that anything that Dr. Prasad has produced is a treatment. We're not allowed to say the word treatment in connection with a nutritional supplement. So believe me when I tell you that I'm not claiming that Dr. Prasad's formulas or anything else are treatments. But I can tell you that this patent has that name. That is the official name of that patent. Micronutrient formulation for the treatment of diabetes mellitus. You decide if there's a connection between the title of that product, of that formula, and what the formula does. You decide if there's a connection. We can't make that decision for you. These are just some of the books that Dr. Prasad has written, and you'll notice, there it is. He's even written a book about how you can fight diabetes with vitamins, antioxidants, the food that's missing from food. He also wrote how it can have an impact on Alzheimer's, how it can have an impact on the #1 cause of death, heart disease, how it can have an effect on the #2 cause of death, Parkinson's disease, concussions, TBI, PTSD, and the list just goes on and on and on. And did I mention that he's still writing books now? He's working on his 32nd book right now. He's 87 years old, 3 months away from being 88. And that's who we have that's helping us bring this amazing product to the world. So I told you it would take about 10 minutes, maybe 12. Might have stretched it a little bit longer there. Sorry about that. That rabbit just gets me. There's just something about those rabbits and those rabbit lungs that I just get bogged down in that. So I apologize. So that's the story of Micro Daily. That's how we have it. That's where it came from. And that's what you and I have access to today. We're going to tell you one more story before we take a couple of your questions before we wrap up here. And this is a horse story. So Jeff said he was going to tell us a horse story. So Jeff, you promised us a horse story. We want this horse story. And while you're queuing that up, I'm going to see if there is a question or two that someone is asking. So let's see what your questions are. Oh, no questions right now. Okay, so I think, Jeff, we could just go straight to the horse story and then we can wrap it up.
Awesome. Well, here it is.
Okay.
So I'm Molly McDaniel, and I got a horse named Avi. And Avi had been deemed unrideable by several vets due to sacral damage. And I put her on Micro Daily, 8 capsules in the morning and 8 capsules at night. And I just started riding her, and then I put her on this, and she has transformed into a horse that was rearing up straight up in the air. She moving forward, getting back on her hind end, rearing up in the front end. And I've also noticed she's drinking twice as much. Her poop is now accumulating 3 times as fast. And she's galloping through the field when before she was just she wasn't feeling like she could run freely. So I've noticed a lot of difference. Big impact has been the community. A lot of trainers know this horse. Everybody's trying to ride her. And I have to say there's a few people jealous that she is riding now. So I'm super excited about her future and can't wait till I can show her.
So you know how expensive some of these horses are, and when a horse is named and it's known throughout the entire community, you know how excited Molly is to have had that experience with the Micro Daily.
That's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive. So it works. It works on one of the clinical studies in that document was about fruit flies. And I love it when you've told that story. So we're not talking about something as small as a fruit fly and now something as large as a horse that will benefit from Dr. Prasad's formula. So thank you for sharing that story with us as well. Okay, so it's your last chance. Any additional comments or questions? We're looking for questions right now. But if anyone wants to share a story too, you're more than welcome to do that at this point. We have about 3 more minutes that we're going to take. Adelina wants to share a story.
Well, I was going to ask a question if you would share something about sports, how the benefits of Micro Daily and sports. Okay. My grandson played sports in high school and some college, and he would ask me every time he run out, he would call me or text me and say, "Nan, I need my Micro Daily." And my son swears by it. With his workouts, he says it makes it much easier.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
I've got a video about a triathlete.
Let's share it. Let's share it because the science behind it is connected again to oxidative stress. You know, so when you can reduce the recovery time between workouts, then because the mitochondria is producing massive amounts of energy. And as the mitochondria produces energy, it also is creating something called hydroxy radicals. And those hydroxy radicals create oxidative stress, and that's what causes the body to feel broken down. And athletes tend to be tend to age, and they tend to get very sick for the most part when they exercise and work out. So professional athletes especially. So Adelina, you had an additional comment? Oh, okay, that was from before. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so go ahead, Jeff.
Jonathan, let me just give you a little bit of background on this. This was several years ago when we were still calling the formulation MMF, which is shortened up for military micronutrient formulation. And I don't know if you remember, but this is how the van looked when we showed up in front of your house. And so this interview is done in front of our van, and you can see the military motif behind this gentleman. So just a little trip down memory lane here. All right. Okay, here we go.
Hello, my name is Dr. Milton Carroll, and I am an Ironman triathlete and military veteran. I take a product called Military Micronutrients, or MMF for short. It was designed by the military to help soldiers of the age of 17 to 20 years of age reach their optimal health and peak performance and maintain it even in the stress of the battlefield. Now, last September, I ran an Ironman in Maryland in which my brother-in-law competed with me. It took me 12 and a half hours to do the race. But the neat thing was I recovered in 3 days from that, where my brother-in-law, who wasn't taking the supplement during that race, took him 5 weeks to recover, a significant amount of time in comparison. Now, this last May, I did the St. George Half Ironman and had another competitor on the bike run into me and caused me to wreck at 30 miles an hour. I lost a lot of skin on my hands, elbows, knees, and all over my back, and I sprained my wrists severely. 2 weeks for that skin to completely heal over and be recovered from that accident. I did another triathlon about 4 weeks later because I was completely healed from that. It makes a huge difference. If you're an athlete and you want to have the best for recovery and to enhance your performance, you need MMF.
There you go.
Well,
He was
said-
he was dosing during the race. I mean, this is before this product, but he in his little fanny pack, not during the swim, but during the bike and the run portion, he would actually just take the capsules out and put them right in his mouth. He couldn't stop and dump them out, so he would just reach into his little pouch and just pop another capsule in. About every 20 minutes or so, he was dosing with an additional capsule, and that's how he was doing it through the race. Pretty amazing.
Wow. So instead of taking like a protein and carbs, and there's absolutely nothing illegal in that, that's pretty amazing. Wow. Interesting. Okay. Couple of comments here. Dan has a question.
I just had a comment there. We were talking about 426 Hemis here earlier, and this is the difference between 87 octane gasoline and nitromethane in my book. This is a real kick yourself on the behindy ride. I'm enjoying it.
All right, very good. Thank
Awesome,
you.
awesome.
And Dolores?
Yeah, Jonathan, I would just like to say, I can't tell all the stories, but my whole family, my husband, I have 4 kids and a host of grands and great grands. We all are taking the product. The product works excellent. We've tried everything, and I like opening up that capsule. I appreciate Jeff bringing that to our attention at one time. So now when anybody calls me in the family, and they have like a headache, whatever kind of problem, I ask them, have you opened your capsule? Open the capsule, put it under your tongue. It might taste nasty, whatever, but it works. I mean, all the products work. The microdaily, the EMF, the hydro, the collagen. We're just having an excellent time as a family using these products. So they're excellent products. I've been taking the product now for about 5, maybe 5, 6, maybe 7 years. But they're excellent.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much for sharing that story. What year was that, Jeff, that you exposed us to MMF?
Oh,
16.
16 it was. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
2016.
Yep.
And
Yep.
Jeff says that
Dolores has also seen that van back. The lights were out in Georgia.
Albany, right. Albany.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we came through after a big storm, and we ended up meeting in a chiropractor's office, and there was no power, but we still met some incredible people, and Dolores is here, still doing it.
That's right. Dr. Hatch was
I
on
appreciate it.
this past Sunday, and Catherine is even still.
Wow.
So there's quite a few from the original original trip. So Jeff was at my house when I told him he only had 20 minutes to tell me about this vitamin, and I wouldn't let him go for 2 hours. But from there, he said, "Who else do you know?" I said, "Well, there's some folks in Albany, Georgia, that you got to go see." And so you got to go talk to Dolores, and you got to go talk to Dr. Hatch. That's just it. So Jeff, right on through.
Sure did.
And it was a
Yep.
game.
I appreciate it.
It was a game changer. That trip that year altered a lot of people's lives. He sent some product to my sister who was a diabetic. She had immediate benefits, and my sister-in-law in Massachusetts, immediate benefits. Their diabetes just completely altered as a result of it. So it made me a complete believer as to how the product works. We had a couple questions in the chat here. One question was about, Catherine, was your question about having hot flashes as to how and why that could have been? She has a woman who benefited from collagen, EMF, brain boost, and they got increased energy, but started having hot flashes. Are you saying why would they start having hot flashes? Is that your question, Catherine?
Yeah, the reason why I'm not basically, I should have put a quotation.
Okay.
What it is, and I know the person because I do in the healthcare field, put it that way. And I have contact with quite a few people, alternative as well. And I usually, now that I could test people, I don't even test them anymore. Because when I see all these problems, I automatically tell them, you need to get on all three of these. But before we had the collagen, but now I start off with those three. Now I want to add the other. What happened was this person, very ill, surgery after surgery, all these problems, can't get around, and so forth. So they did. They ordered it, been on it a month, and even between that time, end up with COVID, called crying. She lives in a assisted living facility, very, very nice, got COVID. And I said, have you been taking your micro daily? Yeah, I've been only taking 2 and 2. I said, no, you need more. But now that you have this COVID, I mean, you could hear her. She couldn't talk real well. I told her, you need to take 4 or 3 times a day. She called me the next day and she sounded better than me. She said, I cannot believe it. That's the only different thing. So she's doing fine with that. No other symptoms from that. But then she called the other day and said, I'm having hot flashes like I had when I was going through the change. She's in her 70s. But she said, I have increased energy. And I'm telling you, this is a lady that I had to start kind of dealing with on the medical side because she was drained all the time. But I told her that she's probably going through a healing crisis. Your body, your cells are saying you've been messed up so long, now there's something in there fighting. But she stopped just a couple of days ago, stopped because she didn't want hot flashes. I said, what would you prefer?
Okay.
Energy or sweating?
Yeah, keep it going. I mean, encourage you with everything that you have to maintain that elevated dose. That is an absolute incredible response from the body because it wants to heal itself, and we're not doing it. We can't say that we're diagnosing, treating, curing, healing, or any of the things, but that when the body starts responding that way to nutrition, that it's cleaning things out, it's getting rid of stuff, and keep it going.
So I told her, please stay on it. I'd rather sweat than not have energy and get better. Yeah. That's why I just wondered, did anybody else ever have the hot flashes?
Absolutely. It's not as common as, say, dizziness or a little upset stomach, or some of those other things that go along with a healing crisis. But we absolutely have that. Sweating is so critical for the body to get rid of it. In fact, we talk about the three B's being affected: your bowels, your breath, and your body odor. So those are just 3 things that you can point out to people. You're going to notice it. Yep.
Right. Okay.
Very good.
Thanks.
Thank you, Catherine. Excellent question. Appreciate your comments and your story there. We got another question in the chat. Melanie says, what does 2X plus protocol mean? That's just my little cryptic thing. Dr. Prasad's normal protocol is 2 capsules twice a day. Once you have
or 3.
Yeah, on the regular formula.
Okay.
So 2 capsules twice a day on the regular formula, regular and the methylated. If you have a chronic problem, add a dose. And again, this is my suggestion, add a dose. That's what I call plus. If you have a serious problem, you want to 2X it. That's what Catherine just told the woman who was having issues, and she went into COVID crisis or whatever. So not only was she taking a 3rd dose, she doubled it. So she went, instead of 2, 2, 2, which is what I call plus, right? Because here we are, if we're over 50, it's a chronic problem. Aging is a chronic problem. So I recommend that if you can afford it, take 1 extra dose once you get over 50. Then if you have a serious problem, 2X, double it. So 4, 4, 4 is what she went to. Once you get into a really serious life or death problem, 3X. Okay. So that's my basic rule of thumb when it comes to dealing with trying to figure out what to do if you're in trouble. It's the same thing that the woman in Hawaii said. Increase the doses. That's what she said. But I'm just kind of giving you a basic rule of thumb as to how to increase it and on what circumstances. That makes sense? Good. Drink plenty of water when you're taking it, because the toxins need a pathway out. They're trying to go someplace. If you don't drink water and give them a pathway out, they will try to lodge in the weakest part of your body, and it can make you miserable. That's Herxheimer effect or detox reaction. And we got time for maybe one more comment here. Dan, you got you've been waving there for a minute.
Oh, I'm not waving, but back to the hot flashes. I've been a sweater all my life, the least little old thing. Well, after the botulism, my body would not sweat. I'd have headaches.
Wow.
And I'm kicking about 6 to 8 glasses of water a day.
Oh, wow.
Well, the second or third day that I was on the Micro Daily, I would sweat profusely, just all of a sudden just break out in a sweat. My kidneys have quit aching. So they're back online working. So it just literally, my body had been cannibalizing itself and now quit and it's repairing itself. So believe it or not, it's nice to have to wash my clothes because I've been sweating in them now.
Right.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you for adding that component, Dan. See, I told you, he's got story on top of story. Dr. Roberts, you got the last word on this.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All righty, I'm out here getting my last walk in the ending of this dark of light. Hello, everybody. Listen, I want to make sure now that I have you and Jeff, sometimes you know how we think we hear stuff. I want to make sure that I heard it right. Did Dr. Prasad say if someone is diagnosed with cancer and they are already on radiation and or chemo, that we should wait until they have completed the treatment and then start them on our micronutrients? Because I had a call today, well, 2 calls today, believe it or not, about this cancer treatment stuff. And I wanted to make sure that what I heard is correct. So I want you and Jeff to comment on that, if you don't mind.
Very good question. And it's not the first time that question has come up. Dr. Prasad has said that, didn't he, Jeff?
He has. During radiation treatments, you want to discontinue the use of microdaily until the treatments are completed, because he says it is going to negate the reason that you're having the treatment, that you're subjecting yourself to radiation to kill the cancer cells, and the microdaily is preventing it from working.
Mm-hmm.
That's when it comes for the radiation. On the poisoning, it's he has stated in both situations, both in the chemotherapy and the radiation, to discontinue. But we've had individuals say that they've had an incredible experience when it comes to the poisoning. In fact, I got a Iris. Iris gave her testimony here probably about a month ago, and I've got it queued up if you want to see what she did. This was her own experience with it. So if we want to answer that question, I think we have at least, sorry, Jonathan, I have. What's your comments on it? And then maybe we can watch Iris.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing. I've heard individuals say what they have done while taking chemo and radiation, and that their bodies were just phenomenal. And I've also heard Dr. Prasad say that microdaily makes any treatment better because it protects the good cells and makes the bad cells more susceptible to the treatment. So I think each person make a decision as to how they want to approach it. And I'd love to hear what Iris, what kind of results Iris has, because it may help somebody make a decision.
Yep. Here's Iris's.
Most of you know that I did have cancer. I think it was 2018. And I met I've been knowing Mr. Lewis for a long time. But then, she introduced me to the Micro Daily. So with God in prayer and Miss Levette, I decided that I would go ahead on and take the Micro Daily. And I did it before I had surgery. So I needed to get it in my system. So once I got it into my system, when I had my surgery, I did not have any pain. I did good. Then after that, I did 8 rounds of chemo. And chemo it's poison. It's a lot of poison that's going inside. Okay, didn't get sick one day because I was constantly taking my Micro Daily, constantly. Then I did 33 rounds of radiation. Didn't get sick, didn't hurt. So now I'm on this thing called tamoxifen. It's the pills after cancer. And one of the side effects is the bones. I should be aching all over. But because, God has prepared me along with Ms. Levette to be great, of course, he allowed me to not have any pain whatsoever. And I go around, I talk to my clients about, a lot of them have blood pressure problems, all of these different problems. I'm like, you know what? I had cancer. And this Micro Daily, it attacked that cancer. And I tell you, I'm just grateful. And that's my testimony.
Well, Jeff,
There you have it. I mean, how she's been through it. I mean, I just love her comment right there at the end. Hey, you guys that have these other little, these stupid things going on.
You got blood pressure. I had cancer.
I had cancer. So
I love what she said as well, because we ought to take responsibility for this temple that God gave us. But most people give it back into the hands of somebody who tell you up front that they're going to practice on you. Okay, I'm finished, Jonathan. I'm off the soapbox.
Thank you very much, Dr. Robertson. I just, I leave it like that because each person has to make a decision as to what they're going to do. And remember, the FDA has not evaluated these comments. We're not saying that Micro Daily is a treatment or cure for any disease state, but I personally just like what Iris said. So I'm not going to say anything else after that. But Dolores, please, you have the last word on this now, Dolores.
Well, this is secondhand, but I know this person personally. A gentleman that had stage 4 prostate cancer. He started taking the Micro Daily. He has not stopped. He went through all of his treatments with the chemotherapy, radiation, or whatever, but he is continuing, and he was taking aggressive doses of Micro Daily. He's done excellent. He has not had any problem. And he's still taking Micro Daily. He's not taking the treatments anymore. He's finished. That was his results.
Okay. So hope that answers your question. We had a question similar to that in the chat as well, Jeff, along that same line. So we encourage everyone who's on the call now, get back with the person who invited you to this discussion, and they will help you get your own personal subscription to the product. And take the right dose. Take enough of it to make a difference. Don't try to get by with a pediatric dose. I had someone who said that they were taking 1 capsule 3 times a day, and they were having phenomenal results. Oh my goodness, that's a pediatric dose. What would happen if you took the real grown-up dose? So, and sure enough, it improved even more. So that's where we are with this. So you have opportunities. If you know someone who could have benefited from this discussion, it has been recorded. Get back with the person who invited you. They will help you to get access to the recordings of these programs. Dr. Roberts has 12 noon Eastern Standard Time program, Lunch and Learn, every single day during the week. I have another program that'll be this coming Thursday at 6 o'clock. Either myself or Jeff will give a presentation this coming Thursday at 6 o'clock, right on this same Zoom channel. And every Sunday at 5 p.m., we would address a health topic. So we do mostly product discussions during the week, but on the weekend, we'll have a health topic. So you can look forward to that this coming weekend. You can join us, and anyone is welcome to join our discussions. So any other announcements that we need to make, Jeff, before we pull a plug?
Just congratulations and another very rewarding evening here. Thank you for inviting me to participate. And I love learning, and we're learning from each other.
Absolutely. I will second that one. And thank you very much for all of your support and everything that I've learned from you. Thank you very, very much. So for anyone who'd like to stick around, we're going to have a very brief business meeting. So I'm going to last about 20 minutes because we went long today that we weren't expecting. So if you were here just for the product presentation, thank you very much for joining us. That portion of our meeting is officially over. We're going to switch to the business meeting here in about 30 seconds.